I was reminded this morning, if you're coming to Thanksgiving dinner today, 3 o'clock, again, I want to extend the invite to you. Even if you didn't sign up, I would gladly give you my plate. We would love for you to come join us for Thanksgiving dinner. It's going to start at 3 o'clock today. There's going to be lots of food. And so if you're interested, please just plan on coming. And what we're asking is if you come to dinner today, just bring your own place setting. Bring a plate, bring a fork. We'll take care of the rest. Deal? All right. And so we're going to continue today. We're going to keep looking at our last sermon in our 8 to 15 series. And like I've told you, is that I'll be honest with you, folks, I don't like waking up in the morning. And today was especially true. Just anybody here just wake up still tired? Or you're like, oh, it's one of those, yes, you're like, one of those days. It's a great day, don't get me wrong. It's a beautiful day, and one of the things I love about Twin Falls is it's like, it is always sunny here. Always sunny. And so you wake up and you look outside and it's beautiful sunrises, and you know it's just going to be a gorgeous day. It may be cold, but it's going to be gorgeous. And it's just a good day. But folks, the reality is that many times in my life, I struggle to wake up in the morning. And I know that many of you sitting here have that same feeling of why today, right? And what I've been talking with you about over the last several weeks is this. What if each and every day that you wake up in the morning, it is an opportunity. It is an opportunity for you to make a difference in the life of somebody. What if every single day you're interacting with people that don't know Jesus? And what if you had the opportunity to share Jesus with them that day? I don't know about you, but isn't that motivating? Wouldn't you want to get out of bed if it meant that it was somebody's eternal difference? Not because you saved them. I want to be very clear about that, folks. It's not that you save them. It's that you point them to the one who does. And so we've been talking about this idea of Oikos, that you see over and over and over again throughout the New Testament is that somebody comes to know Jesus. And what happens is that person then takes that and shares that with their entire household. And you see it over and over and over again in the New Testament. And it makes us ask the question, what if each of us had an Oikos? And it may be somebody that is in your family, but it may be somebody else that you live life with and you experience life with. And it's this, is that each of us sitting here have 8 to 15 people that we are uniquely equipped to share Jesus with. It may be your spouse, it may be your boss, it may be the people that you work with each and every day. But the reality is that each of us here have people in our lives that don't know Jesus. And my question to you is, are you willing to share them? Are you willing to share Jesus with them? And I get it. Many of us sitting here are scared of the idea of sharing our faith. Because let's face it, many of us worry that we're not going to have the answers for the questions that people will have. And we say things like, well, what if they ask me about this? Or maybe you're sitting here and you're like, I don't have a degree in theology, Pastor. How can I share my faith? Or maybe you're sitting here and you're said, you know what, I don't have a very exciting story. How can I share my faith? And my hope and my prayer for you is that over the last several weeks you have seen that you can share your faith. And no, you don't need a degree in theology. And no, you don't need to have all the answers. You just need to simply be willing to share Jesus. And it begs the question, how do we do that? How do we share Jesus? And so over the last several weeks, we've been talking through how do we do this? Well, first of all, you need to be aware of the people that are in your lives that don't know Jesus. Make your list and keep it current. Who are the people that you know that don't know Jesus? Is it your spouse? Is it your neighbor? Is it the lady that you get your latte from every single day? Okay, maybe not every single day, maybe 5 out of 7 days. But who are those people that don't know Jesus? So make your list and check it twice, right? Pray for them by name daily. Are you willing to take the time out of your day to go before the Lord and pray for them by name? And this is a sacrifice, folks. I'll be honest with you, this is a sacrifice. Because many of us, and I'll be honest, and when I say many of us, I mean me. Many of us say, yes, I'm going to pray for that person. And then you wake up and you have about 1 million things you need to do, right? Or I have 1 million things that I need to do. And one of the first things that I forget to do is to pray for my 8 to 15. And I want to encourage you to make this a priority. Take 10 minutes out of your day. And let me ask you this, are the people in your life that don't know Jesus worth 10 minutes of your day? Because I can tell you right now, their value is placed on what Jesus did for them. And if they are worthy of the blood of the Lamb, don't you think they're at least worth 10 minutes of your time? So pray for them. The third thing that we've talked about is living out our faith for them to see. Not because our works save us. Jesus saves us by his blood and his resurrection. And my question to you is this: does that change your attitude? Does that change your actions? And I ask the question of, do people know that you're a follower of Jesus? By the way that you talk, by the way that you act, by the way that you live out your faith in Jesus. Do you live out your faith for them to see? Do you invite them to church? Or to your small group? Or to an event? Like I had shared with you, many studies show that 8 out of 10 people who don't know Jesus would be willing to come to church if somebody would simply invite them. But the sad side of the statistic is this, is that across the nation, only 20% of us, followers of Jesus, are actually inviting people. Are you willing to invite people to be a part of your life? Last week we talked about sharing your story. That there are times in this life when you will have to use words. You hear it over and over again. Preach at all times, and when necessary, use words, right? The truth and the reality is that you need to be prepared to use words. And I asked you the question, and I asked, if somebody asked you why you have faith in Jesus, how would you respond? what would your answer be? And I hope and I pray that for you over this last week, you've really wrestled with that. Have you answered the question or begun to answer the question when somebody says, why are you so different? Why are you so weird? What's your answer? I know for the small group that I'm a part of, this was a great week, a challenging week of digging into why we have faith. And more specifically, what is our answer? So, folks, here it is. You want to share Jesus with the people in your life that don't know Jesus? Try this. You notice in there it doesn't say anything about having a degree in theology. Notice in there it doesn't say anything about how long you have to be a Christian, a follower of Jesus, to do this. And it's very simple. My question to you is, are you willing to do this? Which leads us to our last step. Be accountable. Because I'm going to be honest with you, folks. How many of you went through high school math? Okay, cool, awesome. If you didn't go through high school math, they have like online classes for you and all that if you're interested. Okay, let me ask you this question. Okay, so raise of hands. How many of you went through high school math? All right. No. Leave your hands up. How many of you use high school math on a daily? How many of you use high school math daily? Okay, some of you. Let me ask you again. Hands up again. Really quick. How many of you use high school math at least weekly? Weekly. Okay, most people. Now, here's the truth. For many of us sitting here, we don't use high school math on a regular basis. Or if we do, we use pretty basic functions. But could you guys tell me the quadratic formula? Okay, some of you high school guys could, and some of you guys that were high school teachers and all that sort of stuff, you could name that. But many of us sitting here, like, wait a minute, I don't remember that. Isn't it a squared plus b squared equals c squared? No. Oh, Pythagorean theorem. There you go. See, I don't even know what I'm talking about here. Case in point, right? The reality is that if we don't use something on a regular basis, we forget it. If we don't use something on a regular basis, we forget it. And the truth of the matter is that we can spend 6 weeks talking about living out an Oikos lifestyle. But unless we actually use it, we will forget it. We will forget it. So this step in living out this Oikos lifestyle is critical. You need to keep people in your life that will remind you to live out and share your faith. And so I want to share this with you this morning in Hebrews chapter 10. And the writer says, "Let us hold tightly without wavering to the hope we affirm, for God can be trusted to keep his promise. Let us think of ways to motivate one another to acts of love and good works, and let us not neglect our meeting together, as some people do, but encourage one another, especially now as the day of his return is drawing near. And what this writer of Hebrews is saying is we have so much great things because of what Jesus has done. Can we agree on that? Because of what Jesus has done, we are so blessed. We are so lucky. Can we just agree that, yes, I had no worth, but yet Jesus called me worthy. So let's hold on to that. And let's continue to share that. And continually think of ways to encourage one another to do that. Because if we don't, we will forget it. So be accountable. So here's the reality of accountability, folks. You need people in your life that will keep you in check. And one of the biggest lies from the pit of hell is this, is that you are the only one dealing with problems. You are the only one that is facing this issue. The reality of what Jesus calls us to is this: we are meant to live life together. You are meant to live life together. You need people in your life that will keep you on track. You need to have accountability. And accountability is defined as this, is to answer for something within one's power or control. And so when it comes to sharing your faith, we know we need to do it, right? Jesus said, "Go therefore and make disciples of" what? All nations. And if you're not sharing your faith, if you're not making other disciples, you're missing part of the equation. So it is within your control. It is within your personal own power to share your faith. And do you answer for that? Do you have somebody or a group of people in your life that are holding you accountable for what you do? And specifically, I want to encourage you, folks, this is my second to last Sunday with you. Please, don't allow Oikos to go out the door with me. Because this is not something that I made up. This isn't something that I put together. This is something that you see from Scripture. And so I need you to promise me something. Is that you don't stop sharing your faith in Jesus because I leave. So you need to hold each other accountable to continue to do this. Because what I hear from almost everybody I talk to about this Oikos, this 8 to 15 principle, everyone that I have talked to from this church has been challenged by this, has been motivated by this, has felt like that this is actually something that they can do. Folks, you don't need me here to keep living out this lifestyle. Agree with that? And this is going to seem like a really, really short sermon. You know why? Because it is. Because we can talk and we can theorize and we can come up with schemes and all that sort of stuff. But now is the time. Over the last 6 weeks, we've been talking about this. And I've seen many of you already living this out. So it is time now to go do it. So here's what it all means, folks. 8 to 15 is not a church program or fancy evangelism tool. It's a way of life. If you want to see Jesus move in the lives of your 8 to 15, you need to commit yourself to living this out. You need to commit yourself to living this out. Keep praying for your list. Keep living out your faith for them to see. Keep inviting them to church. Share your story. Don't stop. So be accountable. Let somebody encourage you to continue this out. And so, folks, if you're not a part of a small group, if you're not a part of a group of people coming together on a regular basis that are following after Jesus, you're going to feel like you are disconnected from the church. Because part of it is that you don't have accountability. You don't have somebody coming alongside you and encouraging you, kicking you in the butt sometimes. So if you're not a part of a small group, if you don't have accountability, it's time to get it. It's time to get it. So if you're not a part of a small group and you want to be a part of one, if you still have a connection card, just write down, I'm interested. And we will get you plugged in. Because I can tell you right now, for me and my own personal life, my group of guys that I meet with weekly have been invaluable to my life. And I would love for you to have the same. So be accountable. Okay? Now it's time to go do it. All right.